there was a 2-hour delay that you guys were up in the locker rooms, and I talked to Luke Schoonmaker earlier, and he said, "Hey, I was watching UFC fights. I was trying to stay, keep the pump primed. I was ready to go." 2 questions. 1, are you a UFC fan? And 2, what were you doing during that 2 hours up in the locker room to keep yourself ready to go?
Yeah, who's not a fan of UFC? Is it UFC?
Yeah, it's UFC. Yeah,
yeah. Who's not? That's the cage, right?
Yeah, the cage. Yeah,
wow.
It's the real deal.
Yeah, it really is. Could
you ever see yourself stepping in the cage?
No, I could not. No. My dad was a boxer a little bit. My grandfather was a boxer. Bill Harbaugh was a fighter. He had 8 or 9 fights, and I can remember my dad trying to teach me and John how to box, and the gloves in the garage. And
who won?
He was big. I mean, he was like a year and a half older, and then sometimes I'd be a little bigger. I don't know. I mean, we were so little, I don't even think I remember.
Yeah,
some of them.
Just fun.
Yeah, I just couldn't keep my eyes open, like my dad said. Like when you somebody's throwing a punch at you, you can't blink. You gotta. So if you can't,
it's hard not to blink when somebody's punching you in the face.
Yeah, and it was just hard to move my head the way you were supposed to.
Yeah.
And so I just get hit a lot. So it wasn't a ton of fun.
Yeah.
Boxing.
Yeah.
Or so I can't imagine doing the UFC. Mainly I was just kind of walking around and trying to make the decisions, timelines, and just a lot of nervous energy, I guess. But one of them checking on the players and just hey guys, relax. You seem pretty relaxed.
Yeah.
So I guess I don't need to tell you that they knew what to do. Just relax.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be 1 hour until you have to even think about doing this. So find a spot where you can, put the towel over your head, lay on the floor, close your eyes, visualize a little bit. But they were pretty much doing that.
J.J. McCarthy came out, and you mentioned this after the game. It was a near-perfect performance. Again, after you've watched the film, what was your evaluation of what he was able to do on Saturday night?
Yeah, he was in the zone and in a great place. It was, pretty flawless. Pretty much the same thing we saw, at the game when we looked at it on tape.
Roman Wilson has started off both games. 61-yard wide receiver screen for a touchdown, and then he obviously had the big play to start off the game on Saturday against Hawaii. How big of an impact has he had on this offense?
Been huge. Ascending player who's already a very good player. And so that's really good. He's just been so locked in every day. I mean, every day he's come to practice, meetings, wide awake, slight lean forward in his chair, taking notes. It's all been really, really good, and gotten even faster for a guy that was pretty darn fast, and just added a lot to his game. And he's good and getting better every day.
Yeah, a great 1-2 pop in the backfield with Blake Corum and Donovan Edwards. And then you go, down the list even more. You've got C.J. Stokes, Isaiah Gash, Tavierre Dunlap. When you talk about just those first 2 guys, how creative can this offense be with both of those guys, even with possibly both of them on the field when you line Donovan up as a receiver?
Yeah, or in the same backfield, or motioning in, motioning out. There's so many things that you could do, and you'd love for your opponent to
have to work on all of them.
Think that all the options are available.
Yeah. This offense, it's tied for the highest scoring offense in the country. When you look at the numbers and the opponents that you have played, how do you find areas that you need to improve upon? Where are some areas that you can improve upon?
Oh, it's something we've done, and just coaching too. I mean, they ton of excitement when your players are doing everything that you ask. Really, I mean, even the distractions you talk about.
Mm-hmm.
that never got in the way of anything as it related to the game Saturday night, but also during the week of practice. I mean, it was a heck of a great week of practice. You know, there's a lot of fight. They're playing smart. They're playing fast, playing tough, playing together. I mean, team, the execution, all those things are really at a high level. So it just inspires you as a coach. I mean, we got to do more. We got to keep going here.
Keep pace with the players.
Yeah. It's we're grinding to, you know, do everything and all things that we can to put our players in the best position to be successful, because they're very receptive.
So we'll be back in just a couple moments with head coach Jim Harbaugh. You're listening to Inside Michigan Football from Learfield. Welcome back to Inside Michigan Football. And, Coach, I do want to talk defense here in just a second, but as you saw him walking out, Grant Newsome was on here for the first couple of segments. He was a part of your very first recruiting class when you arrived here in Ann Arbor. What have you seen from him, and how much have you seen him develop and grow as a football player, now coach, but probably more importantly as a human being in your time with Grant Newsome?
That's a tough question, because he's just checked every box ever since he got here in every way, as a student, as a football player, as a teammate, as a leader, then as a student coach, then as a graduate assistant, now a full-time coach. And maybe you would expect something like major. He was that way when he first got here. I mean, he's talking about like the highest grade point average probably of any guy we've ever had on the team. It'd be him or somebody else, you know, in a close 1-2 type of race. You know, they'd have to go to the decimal point to find the winner. And in every way possible, he's what, maybe 26 or he's always. I mean, since the day he got here, I mean, he's been
that mature.
Yeah,
I know.
And then some. You know, I think back to when you were 26.
Yeah. No, it was not Grant Newsome, that's for sure. Yeah, Mom and Dad did a pretty good job on that one.
Yeah, every single box. He's he's one of those guys you're just forever proud to know, you know, and it just affects everybody in a positive manner all the time, every day. And whoever he comes in contact with is affected in a positive manner.
Well, you mentioned checking boxes, and I do want to talk about your defense, because in the first game I was 7 sacks, and then this week all of the pass breakups that the secondary had. How good is this defense right now, and what's the potential of this defense? Because as we mentioned last week, it wasn't just 1 or 2 guys getting after the quarterback; it was every level. And then you see this week, you know, at Makari Page, he's playing at linebacker, he's playing in the secondary, he's all over the place. What's the potential for this defense?
Yeah, Makari had a really good second game in a row. He's really played well. Super happy about Makari Page. To answer your question, I don't know. I don't want to make any huge
bold statements.
Bold statements, yeah. It's just new week, new week's resolution to be committed to playing our best football. You know, I think the thing that is really visible, though, it's a hungry team, and they were committed to playing 60 minutes and playing hard. And if we play hard, I think that's where it always starts, especially on defense.
Talking about the depth of defense, I've always, coming into this season, I thought, hey, linebacker, there's a lot of really great depth at linebacker. But then we start going and we see some of these games. I think it was 90. Was the unofficial number 96 guys that got in the game on Saturday?
It was in the 90s.
Yeah. And a lot of those guys we saw on defense, how important is it for some of those young guys, even though as the schedule gets tougher, they may not get as many reps, but to be able to get those reps in the big house against an opponent, how important are those opportunities?
I think it's really important. They've gone through a training camp, and to get into the game action, really keep them engaged. I mean, some will end up playing as true freshmen. Some may only play in the 4 games. But the more is more on that one.
Yeah.
I've always thought so. And it was like exciting as heck. I mean, because we really were trying to say this is 0-0 coming out of the half, and it was tight. It was a second half score was 17-14, and Hawaii's driving and making some plays, and young guys are out there getting their first action, and you can, it was palpable. The intensity, and they don't know exactly. He didn't know to cover this guy or that guy or to be in the right gap. That's okay. Hey, it's a learning experience, and we get it, and we got to do a better job coaching. And that's, we talked about it earlier. Just inspiring to, guys are that into it. They're, it's that important to them, and let's coach up, make sure they do have it. You may have told them a couple times, but got to tell them more. And or how they learn too. I mean, you're finding out how they learn. Do they need it? Is it off the film? Is it walk through? Is it on the iPad, on the whiteboard? But and they're learning about themselves, and it's just such a learning experience.
Is there anybody that, some guys, they practice at a certain speed, at a certain level, and you're kind of wondering what's going to happen when they get in the game. And then, when the lights go on, something is triggered and they play well. Has there been anybody that has surprised you over the last 2 Saturdays to say, wow, he really has played well in game experience?
Yeah, no, I mean, is so many, John. Probably, if I had to say that one guy, Dominic Gadis, it's his birthday today. He was playing defense completely, since he's got here, and just had the idea last Tuesday, like, Dom Gadis could be a good offensive lineman. I remember recruiting him. He played center, and he, Dom, you want to go to offense? Yeah, coach, I really do. And then Dom's dad texted me, say, great move, and then we went to the practice field, and in one day, I mean, it was like, man, I'm not a very smart guy. It took me a year to think of this, and he was just, I've never seen a guy pick it up that fast, and then played.
Yeah, we saw him in the game. Yeah,
Tuesday,
he makes the switch.
Saturday night, he's pulling. He's making calls from the right guard. Now the center was probably telling him, Raheem was probably telling him what call to make, but he's making calls, and he's pass protecting, he's doing stuff. It's like, I wish had been a little smarter and thought of that one sooner. But a lot of guys, I mean, there's just a lot of guys but that's probably a vivid example.
Quick injury update. Nikai Hill-Green and Carson Barnhart. When do you expect to be able to see both of those guys back for games?
I'm really kind of hopeful that they both be back for this game.
Okay.
So we'll see. What's that? Probable, questionable.
Well, yeah, it's one of those.
Somewhere, between questionable and probable.
Okay, we'll go with that. Well, Coach, I appreciate your time. Best of luck as you prepare for UConn, and we'll talk to you again next week.
Appreciate it, John.